In the heart of Africa, a once promising nation has become the site of one of the world's most devastating and forgotten wars. Sudan, a land of deep history and rich culture, is now drowning in bloodshed, hunger, and silence. Millions of Sudanese people are caught in the crossfire, killed, starved, and displaced, while the world barely notices. The question is why? Why are Sudanese civilians dying every day in a war that seems to have no end? To understand the tragedy, we must go back to 2019 that year. The Sudanese people rose up against the 3-decade dictatorship of Omar al-Bashir, demanding freedom, justice, and civilian rule. After months of protests, the military finally removed al-Bashir from power. And for a moment, Sudan had hope. A new chapter was supposed to begin, one built on democracy and peace. But inside the army, two powerful men began to fight for control of the country's future. One was General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, head of the Sudanese Armed Forces. The other was Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo, widely known as Hemedti, commander of the Rapid Support Forces, or RSF. Both men had helped remove the dictator, but neither wanted to give up power. They promised to unite their forces and oversee a transition to civilian government. Yet their rivalry quickly grew into mistrust and ambition. On April 15, 2023, that rivalry exploded. Gunfire erupted in the capital, Khartoum. The army and the RSF, once allies, turned their weapons on each other. Within days, neighborhoods were destroyed. Fighter jets bombed cities, paramilitary units stormed streets, and civilians found themselves trapped with no food, electricity, or escape. The fighting spread across the country, from Khartoum to Darfur, reviving old wounds. From the genocides of the early 2000s, reports soon emerged of massacres, ethnic killings, and attacks on hospitals. Families who had survived decades of hardship were once again forced to flee their homes. Mothers buried their children. Cities turned into ghost towns, and yet the world remained mostly silent. By 2025, Sudan's humanitarian crisis had become one of the worst in the world. More than 8 million people were displaced. Thousands had been killed. Entire villages were burned, and famine gripped regions like Darfur and Kordofan. Hospitals collapsed, schools were abandoned, and hunger became a weapon of war. The RSF controlled vast areas, accused of carrying out ethnic massacres. The army, in turn, launched indiscriminate airstrikes that hit civilians as often as fighters. No one was safe, not in the cities, not in the countryside, and not even in the refugee camps. But why does it continue? The answer lies in power and silence. Both the army and the RSF want to rule Sudan. Both are backed by foreign interests, trading weapons for gold and resources. Peace talks have failed again and again, because neither side truly wants to surrender. Each sees victory as the only option, and every battle costs thousands of innocent lives. The world's attention, meanwhile, has turned elsewhere. There are no major oil reserves or strategic alliances in Sudan to make it a global priority, so the suffering continues, largely unseen. Sudanese children starve not because there isn't food, but because roads are blocked and aid convoys are attacked. Families walk hundreds of miles to reach safety, only to find refugee camps that are already overflowing. Still, the Sudanese people show remarkable strength. In the ruins of their cities, civilians volunteer to help the wounded, share what little food they have, and teach children in makeshift tents. Activists inside and outside the country continue to raise their voices online, demanding justice and peace, even as their loved ones disappear. Every life lost in Sudan is a story, a dream cut short. Children who wanted to become doctors, teachers, and artists are gone. Parents who once grew crops now beg for food. Yet through all this darkness, a small light remains, the resilience of the Sudanese spirit. This war is not only about politics or military power. It is about humanity, about people who deserve to live without fear. The world cannot afford to ignore them any longer. Every Sudanese life matters. Every voice deserves to be heard, and every story deserves to be told. The killings must stop. The silence must end, because if the world continues to look away, another generation of Sudanese will vanish, not because of who they are, but because no one cared enough to save them.